Hey, what's up, everybody? Hope you're having a good day. I'm Jordan Dunlap, and welcome to another episode of History Through Hoops. If you missed the last episode of History Through Hoops, the link is in the description down below. Also, be sure to check out my other YouTube series about the Negro Leagues. For today's episode, we're continuing our series on black pioneers in the NBA. And if you like learning about the Negro Leagues, if you like my other YouTube series, Journey Through Jerseys, you're really gonna love this episode. Because this guy didn't just have connections to the Black Fives, which is like the Negro Leagues but for basketball, but he had connections to Negro League baseball as well. So without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, the story of Nat Sweetwater Clifton.
Nathaniel Sweetwater Clifton was born October 13, 1922, in Little Rock, Arkansas. When he was 8, he and his family moved to Chicago, where he attended DuSable High School and excelled as a basketball star. Standing at 6'7", his size made him a dominant player on the court. In 1942, during his senior year, Clifton would play in the city championship semifinals and scored 45 points. Breaking the previously held record of 24 points. Clifton's talent, even back then, was undeniable. Chicago Daily News called him one of the best high school basketball players in Illinois history. After he graduated from high school, he attended Xavier University and played basketball there for one season before he was drafted to fight in World War II. But not even a war could stop his passion. Clifton was still playing basketball with his fellow white soldiers while he was in the Army. When the war ended, Clifton would go on to play for the Dayton Metropolitans, being the first black player to join their roster. When his time with the Metropolitans ended, Clifton would join the Harlem Wrens, a team that was a part of the Black Fives. He was then invited to play with the Harlem Globetrotters, which he did from the spring of 1948 to the summer of 1950. Basketball wasn't the only sport Clifton was good at, though. In 1949, during one of his off seasons from basketball, he would play for Chicago's biggest Negro League team, the Chicago American Giants, as a first baseman. At this point, Clifton had more than proved himself to be an incredible athlete, showing his talent in both baseball and basketball. And on May 24th, 1950, Clifton's talent would be recognized in a major way. Because on that day, the New York Knicks announced that they had purchased Clifton's contract from the Harlem Globetrotters for $5,000, making him the first black man to play on the Knicks and the second black man to sign a contract with the NBA team. While Clifton was a very capable scorer, in the league he found a sweet spot in defense and rebounding. And just like high school, Clifton made a big impact in the NBA, especially for the New York Knicks. During his first 3 years on the team, the New York Knicks went to the NBA Finals, with Clifton becoming the first black man to make it to the finals during the 1951 season. And even during his last season with the Knicks, Clifton would still keep this fire going. He was scoring 13 points a game and even played in the NBA All-Star Tournament. And yet, despite all these accomplishments, Clifton was still a black man in America. And because he was a black man in America, he had to deal with the same racism, the same hatred that black men who weren't in the NBA had to deal with. Because of segregation, he couldn't even stay at the same hotels as his teammates. And at games, he sometimes had to deal with people yelling racial slurs at him. One time, even Celtics player Bob Harris yelled a racial slur at him. Clifton responded by knocking him out cold. Luckily, Clifton still had people in his corner, like his coach, Joe Lapchick, who had a history with the Harlem Wrens, the Black Fives team that Clifton used to play for. In 1957, after 7 seasons with the Knicks, Clifton was finally traded to the Detroit Pistons to start a new chapter in his NBA career. But for Clifton, this chapter would be his last one with the NBA. After leaving the Pistons in 1958, he would join another Detroit team. This time, though, it will be the Negro League team known as the Detroit Clowns, and he would play with them for the East-West All-Star Tournament. In 1961, Clifton was convinced to lace up his shoes for one last time before he hung up his jersey. After just one season with them, Clifton was ready to retire. This time, for good. Clifton would lead a simple life after retiring from sports, opting to drive a cab in Chicago. And he would drive a cab for the rest of his life. On August 31st, 1990, 40 years after his historic debut in the NBA, Nat Clifton died of a heart attack at the age of 67. Nat Clifton never received a pension from the NBA because it was set up only for players who are retired after the 1964-65 season. Nat Clifton is not a household name, but he was just one of many forces to help the NBA become what it is today, a beacon of diversity. While they didn't give him his pension, the NBA did eventually give Clifton his flowers by inducting him into the Basketball Hall of Fame on August 9th, 2014. His nickname, Sweetwater, came because of his affinity for soft drinks. Decades before he was inducted into the Naismith Memorial Hall of Fame, he was inducted into the Black Athletes Hall of Fame in 1978. His actual birth name is Clifton Nathaniel, but he changed it in high school. There is a movie in pre-production about Clifton's life called Sweetwater. So far, no new details have come out about it.
Well, that does it for this episode of History Through Hoops. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, please like it, comment, share it, and subscribe to my YouTube channel. Follow me on Twitter, Instagram, the same name, J Dunlap TV. And stay tuned for the next episode of History Through Hoops, where I'll be going to the story of Earl Lloyd. So again, thank you so much for watching. God bless, and I'll see you next time.